republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call the roll. Deputy Presiding Officer Richard Nicolello. Alternate Deputy Presiding Officer Howard Coppell. Sheila Bino, Legislator.
Here.
Thank you. Legislator Carrie A. Salages.
Here.
Thank you. Legislator Denise Ford. Okay. Legislator Laura Curran.
Here.
Thank you. Legislator C. William Gaylord III.
Here.
Legislator Vincent Muscarella.
Here.
Thank you. Legislator Ellen Birnbaum.
Here.
Legislator Delia DeRicci Witten. Legislator James Kennedy.
Here.
Legislator Laura Schaefer. Thank you. Legislator Dennis Dunn.
Here.
Legislator Rose Marie Walker.
Here.
Legislator Donald McKenzie. Thank you. Legislator Stephen Rhodes.
Present.
Thank you. Minority Leader Kevan Abrams.
Here.
Thank you. Presiding Officer Norman Gonzalez.
Present.
We have a quorum, ma'am.
As customary, we begin each legislative meeting with 30 minutes of public participation. It is now 1:10, and I have several slips, and I remind each one that there is a 3-minute limit to your comments, and so we can move on. And hopefully, I have a lot. We can get all, if not most of the residents' comments in before the half hour is over. So I'm going to begin with Joanne Urban. All right, Joanne. Come on, Joanne.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joanne.
Which button is it, right? Good afternoon. I'm from Uniondale. I've been a resident since 1969. And I'm here to talk about the streetscaping project. I have a photo here of the happy day when we broke ground. Everyone here is smiling and happy because the streetscaping was going to start in spring, the first phase, and then it would continue. This photo was taken in 2012. We're extremely disappointed that nothing has been done since that, the little patch that was done by the library. We understand the money is there, but we don't understand what's holding it up and why it hasn't been completed. It's a tremendous disappointment when we go to a place like Westbury and we see how beautiful it's been done. And we have been promised this since 2012, and it hasn't gone any further, like I said, besides that little patch right across the library. So I'm in the community since '69. I'm presently on the Board of Trustees at the Uniondale Library, so I see the beautiful sign outside, but when I walk up and down Uniondale Avenue, nothing has been done. So can you please explain to me why, if the money's there, the project isn't completed or even gone past the little bit that they did at the library, which is actually lovely. So is there someone that can help me and tell me what can be done?
Yeah, Minority Leader.
How are you, Joanne?
Come on.
I can tell you with confidence, because I've been to the Civic Association meetings and I've said this before, you are absolutely correct. This was promised. I believe, I couldn't see your photo from here, but I know...
Anybody could have it, but you're in there, I'm in there.
I believe the former supervisor of the town of Hempstead's in there. Was Kate Murray there that day?
Yes, she is.
And Councilwoman Gooseby?
Yes, and...
I do remember the day.
And Supervisor Mangano, he's in here also. And everybody's smiling because we're so happy.
Yes, and I remember when we were able to get that into the capital plan back in, might have been 2013, to pay for the streetscape. Let me tell you, the bonding for that particular project has already been bonded in previous bond plans. Also, that contract sits in the clerk's office. The presiding officer has made the decision not to call it. I can give you the clerk item number, I can give you all the information. The only person that can decide what's on our calendar for today, which we're going to go into after the 30 minutes of public comment, is one person. It's Madam Presiding Officer Norma Gonzalez. And for whatever reason, she has decided not to call it. It has nothing to do with bonding, has nothing to do with anything that you're reading about. They made a calculated decision not to call that contract, which would start this phase. The money was awarded in March. The contract was implemented since then. There is no reason for this contract not to come before this committee for a vote.
Thank you for the information. Thank you for the information.
Just press that red
But
button.
I'm pressing the red button. I'm going to be ejected. Thank you for that information, but what can we do as a community to make sure this project is finished,
Yes,
completed?
well, I mean, not to point fingers, you need to, I've already conveyed, my staff, my office has already conveyed to Norma Gonzalez, I'm just front of Norma's right here, she's sitting right next to us. But we have already conveyed that we would require and encourage that this contract come before us, and it just has been called. That, to me, it really comes down to the presiding officer putting it on the calendar. We're a caucus that sits on this side. The caucus that sits on that side, no one has the authority other than the presiding officer. So we need to get a commitment, and I'm asking you again, Madam Presiding Officer, to put this contract on so that we can vote for it, so that the people of Uniondale can feel like their tax dollars are working for them. There's no reason why this contract has sit idle for 4 or 5 months in the clerk's office and not been counted. So now I am publicly asking again that this item be called.
Ms. Urban, I'm going to ask you to speak to our attorney, and he will explain the process and why it has not been called.
Thank you. There are other representatives actually
I
from the
see
beautification
that,
team.
and I will definitely call, if they put in a slip, I will call them as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Robert Lane.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Lane. I live in Massapequa Park. I have a growing concern about the safety of the people in Massapequa Park. We have a number of speeding cars in the village. We have cars that constantly blow through stop signs. I live on a corner where there was an accident involving a Nassau County Police ambulance with its lights going and siren going with a patient in the car. The girl that was driving the car that broadsided the ambulance wasn't even paying attention. It's just getting to be a little on the crazy, ridiculous side. Cars driving around with broken headlights and taillights. Cars in the wintertime and trucks with mounds of snow and ice piled on top of the cars. Nothing being done about this. It's the public safety of not just Massapequa Park, but of all of Nassau County. And I would like to see something done about this. I had a whole list of things I wanted to say, but I got 3 minutes, so I'll keep it as short as possible. I'd be more than happy to come to anybody's office and speak more in detail about my concerns in regards to this. Like I said, I do live on a corner where there has been a few accidents, and few people have told me don't stir up any problems, don't complain or anything, but I'm not going to stand there and find one of my neighbors dead in the street and saying, you know what, I should have said something. Well, there's a thing going around about if you see something, say something. Well, I see it and I'm saying something. So I hope this will get through to whoever needs to be spoken to, and this can be rectified. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lane.
Sorry, yes.
Would you like to talk now, or would you like to go down there?
Actually, if you wouldn't mind, could I come down and speak with you?
No problem, Mr. Kennedy.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Andrew Clavin? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Clavin, and I'm a resident of North New Hyde Park. Pretty much echoing the same statement that the last gentleman addressed to you. It's pretty crazy over there. I'm a big pro-police citizen and taxpayer. Also, a big supporter of pop cops and vehicle and traffic enforcement. I remember at one point that we had 5 in now the 3rd Precinct South, and again, this is my area. I agree with them countywide, this should be addressed, but in my area alone, when I say pop cops, they were in the 3rd Precinct South. At that time, it was just the 3rd Precinct before it was merged to the 6th. It went from 5, if not 6, but at least 5, then it went down to 4, then to 1, and then they said, okay, when you shut down the 6th, make it into 3rd North, 3rd South, that it's going to quote-unquote restore the cuts, and that restoration gave us 3. And then a few months, down the road, we were at 0. Now it's back up to 2. They're fantastic. However, this does not, by any stretch of the imagination, cure the issues with, again, blowing through stop signs, speeding, people on the cell phone. You call up, they say to call 911. This place, your 3rd Precinct, it covers all over, Hofstra, Winthrop right here in Mineola, it covers this area. It's too much already, and if you have the normal guys, the normal postcards doing enforcement or whatever, and then they need to get taken out with a call. We need to have more officers assigned to VTL enforcement and pop cops specifically that could address the concerns of the residents, without needing to answer the emergency calls. Again, when you could complain, sometimes there's like a temporary cure where, oh wow, it's terrific, it's great for a day or a week or whatever, then it goes away. I'm looking for more consistency and back to the numbers where it should be, and a constant, again, not location, but countywide for cell phones and other violations to be addressed, so that there's just general VTL enforcement for the police and increased public safety for the officers that are not doing VTL enforcement, so that we have more manpower allotted. I'd appreciate whoever here is responsible to make the decision to increase that and increase the number of Nassau County police officers that we have in Nassau County, and especially being that I live there, the 3rd Precinct's now 3rd
Sorry,
South.
time has
Thank you.
expired.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Legislator Burbaum.
Andrew, I just want to say that thank you for coming and talking to us about the issue. And all the legislators have been asking for more pop cops. And Acting Commissioner Crumter, when he was testifying before the budget hearing, he did hear us all ask for 4 rather than 2. So I know we're at 2 for each of our districts. But I'm in total agreement with you that we need better VTL enforcement, and we're trying. I've been working really hard to get the 6th Precinct reopened, because I think to bring it back to our neighborhood would do a great service to all of us. So thank you.
Yeah, whether it be bodies, additional officers, pop cops, morale, VTL enforcement in general, something needs to be done, and I appreciate it if you guys can do something about this matter. Thank you.
Jack McCloy.
Members of the legislature, thank you for allowing me to speak with you again today. I'll try to keep it as quick as possible because there are a few topics I want to stay under my 3-minute limit. The first one is the topic I speak to you most about, which is the Grand Avenue reconstruction proposal. I was disappointed to read in Newsday that it seems that there had been a agreement by my legislator to support overall budget projects in return for getting her local pet project through. This is a bad idea. I've mentioned to you why I feel it's a bad idea. I'd like you to consider not allowing it to go through on its merits. Those of you on the other side of the aisle, I'd like you to reconsider any support that you might give to a project like that, because it's just a bad project. Many people in our area are opposed to it. I've mentioned why. I won't renew those explanations today, but please don't let Grand Avenue be reconstructed from the 2 lanes in each direction that they currently have to only 1 lane in each direction. The next topic I wanted to speak to you briefly about is red light camera timing. I wanted to mention to you that I've been an advocate for a long time of not removing red light cameras, but making them fair to the motoring public. And the best way that can occur is if we have countdown timers posted at each intersection where the red light cameras are being installed. That way, approaching motorists can see if they have 5, 4, 3, if it's getting closer to the 0 mark, they can actually begin slowing up before they hit that intersection. It will prevent rear-end collisions or reduce them dramatically. It will not eliminate the revenue that they generate from motorists that blow through the red lights, which they should be held responsible for, but especially with the surcharge that is being proposed right now. Before you approve the budget that would allow those surcharges to be attached to those tickets, I would strongly suggest that you consider mandating the fact that countdown timers be placed at those intersections where the red light cameras are going to be installed. And finally, very briefly, there will be a public hearing on the proposed water increase for American Water, which affects most of Nassau County, and the proposal is for between an 8 and 9% increase. Myself, many of our local residents have been at the Baldwin Civic Association meeting, the Baldwin Oak Civic Association meeting. I applaud Kevan Abrams, Laura Curran, and Eric King Sweeney from coming down on Tuesday and Thursday for those meetings and listen to how the Baldwin residents are opposed to a hike like that. But the reason I'm mentioning it to you...
Your time has expired.
Very quickly, the reason I'm mentioning it to you is because this is what happens when a public water utility changes to a private water utility. I hope you will keep the same concerns in mind when it comes to decide whether we should do the same public to private transfer for the sewer system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCloy.
If I may.
Susan, Legislator Rhodes.
Yeah, just to follow up on the speaker's point, the public hearing, which is being hosted by the Public Service Commission, will be taking place on October 26th at 7 p.m. at the Wantagh High School on Beltaw Avenue in Wantagh. And the public, of course, is urged to attend.
Correct. There will be one earlier in the day, but I believe most working people will probably want to come to the 7 o'clock meeting. Thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you.
Okay. Susan Gathro? I hope I said it right, Susan. I'm sorry if I didn't.
Yes, you said it right. Close, anyway. Hi, my name is Susan Goddard. I'm the new chapter director with the New York Civil Liberties Union. So I hope to be getting to know everybody over the coming months. I specifically have questions today about the Nassau County Jail. One of my questions is, if you have a candidate, when will that candidate be made public and available for public scrutiny? And also, how often is somebody from the Nassau County government inside the jail to see how the transition is going, other than the Sheriff's Department? And is the nonprofit that the legislature hired, are they currently physically inside the jail overseeing the transition?
Mr. Becker, Susan gave us 3 questions that need to be answered.
Okay.
Follow up on the answers to her questions, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Susan, Mr. Becker will follow up on those questions and get you the answers. Barbara Salva.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Barbara Salver. I'm sure you remember me. Just a few things. I won't take up much of your time, but just some things for you to know. As the Deputy Executive Director that I am of LITAC, first of all, our condolences for the passing of Legislator Judy Jacobs. She was a friend of mine as well as an advocate for the transgender community, and she will surely be missed. A little update for Joanne Borden. I guess you remember her. I spoke with her yesterday. First of all, she was in the hospital for 2 weeks with pneumonia. To be honest with you, at the time when I spoke with her at the hospital, I didn't think she was going to make it. She sounded terrible. She was in a lot of pain. But then again, I talked to her yesterday, and I think she's ready to play tennis. So she's doing really, really well, and she told me to tell you that she will be back next month with a vengeance. So be prepared. One other thing, November coming up is Transgender Awareness Month. During that month, as a committee member of the Transgender Day of Remembrance Committee, we invite you all to our program at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation at Shelter Rock. That will be held at November 19th. That's a Saturday night at 7 o'clock. I urge you to please come and attend that event. It's very moving. It brings life to a point where some people have lost their lives. At this point, as it is right now, 21 people, I believe, have been murdered in the United States just because of who they are. This will be a tribute to them, as well as some international folks who have been murdered, which goes into the hundreds. Also, during that event, there will be a short tribute to Judy Jacobs by legislature Laura Curran, and I totally thank her for being there and for the tribute. That's all I have now. We're not going to boys and scream and no finger pointing or anything, but I truly would invite every one of you, your families, anyone, to come to our event for the Transgender Day of Remembrance at the Unitarian Universalist Church, Shelter Rock, on November 19th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barbara. I don't, there's a person here with the last name of Jacobs. I cannot read the first name. Where are you?
I'm right here.
Who's right here?
I'm here.
Okay.
May I speak? Everybody make your sign.
Now, would you please
tell us your first
name?
It's Willeen. W.
I got it.
Okay, got it? Thank you.
Okay.
The Uniondale community has strongly advocated for community improvement, beautification for many years. Community leaders and residents have sat at countless meetings with our elected officials, and to date, very little improvement has materialized. We do recognize the investment and development that is currently occurring in Uniondale, north of Hempstead Turnpike. We are one Uniondale. We will not validate a north side Uniondale divide. Investment and beautification should transcend the north side of Hempstead Turnpike into the residential neighborhoods of our community. It is a fact that the neighborhoods of Uniondale have been allowed to deteriorate over many years, despite the continuous advocacy and outcry from the community that improvement is desperately needed. These actions speak to the residents of Uniondale as manipulative disinvestment in a minority community. Let me say that again. Manipulative disinvestment in a minority community. Your indecisiveness and infighting has adverse effects on the people that you were elected to serve. Unfortunately, the citizens of Nassau County have to endure the consequences of your inaction. However, you do not. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Heidi Sanford? I don't know if that's correct.
Good afternoon. My name is Heidi Sanft. I'm the Vice President of the No String Garden Civic Association in Uniondale. I've been on the board for 8 years. My family has owned a house in the Uniondale area since 1967. I have 3 points, short points I'd like to make. Last November, to be exact, November 14th, we were advised by the Nassau County Department of Public Works that, quote, work was expected to begin in the spring. In other words, this past spring. It didn't happen. The contractor, Valenti, has already been selected. Everything is ready for the shovel to go into the ground for Uniondale streetscaping on Uniondale Avenue. This is a community revitalization project which will enhance the quality of life in Uniondale. Please do not put our community's well-being on the back burner. Resolve whatever issues you have regarding this independent person to investigate contracts directly with one another and move our project forward. Now, Ms. Gonzalez, we understand that you have chosen to not put the contract on the agenda. I have with me the plans from the Department of Public Works. The note says design 90% complete. This was printed March of 2014. It's almost 2017. Ms. Gonzalez, with all due respect, I'm asking you, put the Uniondale streetscaping project on the agenda now. To do anything else would just be so wrong. So wrong for our community, so wrong for Nassau County. This is one Long Island and we should all be treated with respect. Thank you.
Really can't read.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Marie.
My name is Marie Catanese. I've lived in Uniondale for an awfully long time. You can tell that because I'm awfully old. I came today because I've been writing letters and they don't seem to do any work, any good. It was over 10 years ago that a whole group of us, including Heidi that just spoke, Dorothy Gooseby, and half of our community walked down Uniondale Avenue and we were promised that we would have streetscape. I'm talking about 10 years ago. My husband took pictures and we sent them to Mr. Crean. And we had meetings with him and we had meetings with everybody. And yet nothing has ever been done, not really. You can't call those advertisements across the library on the benches streetscape. You know, we kind of wanted the lanterns and the garbage pails and all the rest of the good stuff. We just don't have it. I kind of feel that because I live in an interracial community, that people are saying they can wait, they can wait. It's been over 10 years, and I read in the paper all the time, all the different areas that get streetscape. Now I think it was Valley Stream last week is getting a parking lot done. What is this nonsense? A parking lot is not going to make the whole community feel great. But if you put a couple of flowers and a couple of garbage pails and a couple of benches on Uniondale Avenue or Jerusalem, both of them are county roads, you know, we'd all be a little bit happier. Our children are just as important as the children that live in other communities. And it's about time that this area here this legislature is aware of that. We want our children to grow up, be good citizens. We tell them all the time. You know, when you read in the paper that something happened in Uniondale, read down a little further and you'll find out it wasn't done with the people in Uniondale. It was the people that came into the Uniondale and did this. They think this is the dumping ground. It's the same as all the signs that are stuck up. Half of the signs are voting signs. They're on all the fences, yet we have information. You should not do that. What do you call that? When they take the signs down. We don't want any government signs on our fences, on our buildings, or anywhere. Our Coliseum was ruined with the signs going across the top, and I hope when they're in the street, when the place gets finished, there are no signs on the building. It's terrible. Uniondale is not a dumping ground, even though you think maybe it is, because there's open space. We were very careful about the open space. You know, years ago, and I'll go back many, many years ago, our school district asked for about 8 acres of Mitchell Field so we could have a special school for our kids. For all the kids on Long Island, a very good school, engineering, whatever. Thank you very much. I'd like to see that change. Oh, I want to say, I sent a letter last week talking about the pictures we took and so forth. I never get answers from any of your letters. I mean, I make sure the addresses are correct, to who it's going to is correct. You know, and I have an awful lot of trouble writing these letters, but it would be fun once in a while to get an answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marie. Meredith. Meredith, you have several items on your slip
Yes.
that pertain to the calendar.
Yes.
Would you prefer just to speak on veterans, taxpayers, diverse businesses, or all of
That's
the
fine.
items?
No, just that one for now.
Okay.
Just concerned, again, Mita Meredith, Wesley Street, Baldwin resident, and I concur. It's always nice to see more people from the public here. I just wish they would come more often to see what's going on around here, how our tax dollars are being spent. My concern, primary concern, as always, has to do with the lack of inclusion with our veteran businesses, and looking at the paper today with the scrutiny on our state contracts and the ongoing scrutiny in Nassau County with our county contracts, and there is still that dearth of information because there is no veteran business development on the county level, on the town level, or the state level in this that is known as the Empire State, and in this county, which has the second largest population of veterans in New York State and potentially the Northeast region. That is deplorable, and I continue to be on the record in fighting that. This has nothing to do with this side or that side, because we don't elect parties, and I think people seem to be forgetting that. Our officials are elected by the public, and we've got to get back to that awareness that we can put you in office, but we can just as easily put you out, even though unfortunately some are getting out a lot sooner between the Justice Department and various and sundry other activities. So I am hoping again that we can look toward all of this money that we hope to generate, which is again this budget that is based upon some factors that seem magical to me in terms of how they're going to raise money. Unfortunately, it's just going to raise whatever you want to call it, a fee, a surcharge, a levy, because we still want to promote that we're not raising property taxes, even though we now have a fund to address the zombie houses as opposed to trying to keep the people in the house before they leave in the middle of the night. So, I know once again I am just speaking in the wind, but since I pay such high taxes for that right, I will continue to do so as my health allows me, and also to concur with my neighbor and friend Jack McCloy. I too oppose the shortening, or whatever you want to call the structural design with regard to our roadway on Grand Avenue. I applaud the residents from Uniondale to stand up and get streetscaping. We would just like to have some safe streets. We would just like to have all of those promises that were made when we were initially fighting to have the first precinct moved in front of our high school, that a number of you don't really know because, again, some of the people who sat on those chairs were voted out of the office for some of the foolhardy decisions that they made with regard to that. So there are those of us that are sitting out here who should be in the forefront of the ribbon cutting for the first precinct because we fought to keep that precinct where it is and built up to what it needed to be.
Ma'am, your time is up.
Oh, always. And we also need to have more police officers and funding for our POP. Thank you.
And public comments.
If I may?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Again, I mean, and I want to thank the people of Uniondale for coming down today, speaking very passionately about the Uniondale streetscape. I don't think you should leave here today without a response from the presiding officer, which indicates when this contract will be before the committee. The contract has an item number. Since the time when Joanne had spoke, it's B11-16. It was clocked into the legislature in May of 2016. In the NIFS account for this project, there is $1.3 million. The first phase of this project is $919,000. There is money there. She said, the presiding officer indicated that you would get a communication from her attorney, whether that's Mr. Ostuni or Mr. McCloy. They should speak at the podium before these people leave today and give the justification on why this item has not been called for 5 months. I would love to hear that response. You should not be here thinking and hoping that folks in this body will do the right thing. So I encourage you to demand that today before you leave, because we have been demanding it for 5 months and my interests for this particular project have been ignored. So I would love to hear the rationale when we have seen items be clocked in afterwards since May of this year, come through this committee and come through this body and get voted on, but this item has not even been called. This item has not even been calendared. It's not even on the calendar. I mean, what else needs to happen? What other analysis needs to happen? It's been 5 months. So I would love to hear the rationale, but I think it's more important that you demand the rationale before you go home today.
Well, I'm ready to give the rationale, Mr. Abrahams. I have to say to you, we have a capital plan, and in that capital plan there are capital projects. And for the most part, there has not been consensus on the minority side of the aisle to make some of those projects go through. And until there is consensus, the blame is not put on one side or another. When we put contracts before this body, all right, most of the times, the minority votes those contracts down. So the contract that you're talking about, Mr. Abrams, has not, excuse me, I did not interrupt you.
You are way off base. Way off base.
I'm sorry, but you have your opinions, I have mine.
Finish with your rhetoric. Go ahead.
Okay? That the capital project may have been filed in the clerk's office, but it's not reached my desk. Okay? So until that happens, it does not come before this body.
Mr. Pulitzer, is that true?
It has not come before my desk.
Why not?
I will look, and I don't know at the moment, sir.
That's, folks. Exactly. That's the right question. Why not? The other response to what the presiding officer just said. Look, folks. This has nothing, and then our counsel just told me it was emailed to her, like it was emailed to everyone when we get the items sent down to us. This has nothing to do with bonding or contracts. Folks, you know this, you're too smart for this. This was done in 2012. The bonding was in 2013. The money is in the account. Anything that she's talking about, what happened in 2016, she knows the money is there. But you know what it is? Because I'm the representative of Uniondale, and because I lead this caucus in what we believe is our convictions and what we want to try to see the transparency in this county, this is being done out of spite. If this was done, if this project was in anyone else's district, it would have passed through the Rules Committee and been calendared already. This is being done out of spite, more than anything else. But you're not spiting me. I represent the area. I love to see this getting done, but you're spiting taxpayers, people that have given their time up to be here today. There's no other reason, Madam Presiding Officer. You're using the excuse. This item has been bonded for. There's $1.3 million that sits in the account that would pay for this contract. It doesn't need any bond proceeds. You sat on it out of spite, which to me is unbelievable that you would actually sit here and do that.
Thank you very much, but I will tell you this, okay? When capital projects come before this body that affect every community in Nassau County, most of the times, if not all of the times, they have been voted down by the minority. So I don't want to risk putting up a contract that will not be passed by my delegation because they are not going to do what they're supposed to do governmentally. So that's it. And I have Legislator Nicolello, I wasn't going to make this a debate, but obviously it has turned into a debate.
I'm sorry, but I just can't sit here and idle while you just totally lied to these people. The bottom line is very simple. This legislative body passed 2 CRP projects, which Newsday documented. I believe one I know it was for Legislator Kennedy. I can't remember the other one. For Gaylor also. For Legislator Gaylor. So don't sit here and tell us that you don't know how this legislative body is going to vote for contracts like this. Let's be honest. You did this out of spite. If you don't want to admit it on the record,
I'm sorry. I'm not going to address that.
I'm sure you won't.
No, because I'm not Mr. Kevan Abrams. Don't you call
give them the justification. Give them the justification on why either Mr. Pulitzer didn't send it to you, or you were cognizant enough to read your email to know that this contract was sitting in your office for 5 months. Please, do not let these people leave today thinking that somehow, miraculously, you're going to call this in the next few weeks, because you're not. So let's call it for what it is. Please, tell them why. I would love to get a justification on why this didn't get called for 5 months while it sat in the clerk's office. I want to hear it.
No, I'm going to...
There's no response for it.
For 5 months, you didn't vote on anything in all of our districts.
Laura, you're wrong. We just said we voted for Legislator Kennedy CRP. You're wrong. You're just wrong.
I had stuff in my district. I was waiting for mine.
Laura, you're just wrong. More importantly, Laura, you're missing the point. This was bonded. So this was bonded. Laura, this was bonded money from 2013. This was a contract that was awarded, sent down by the county executive in May of 2016. You're missing the point. The point is, this has nothing to do with 2016. No, I haven't made my point until they get the project that they deserve. Because obviously you're not getting it.
I get it.
No, you're not getting it.
Wait, there's a ton of projects in my district that my residents are not getting. Let me just say this. I met with somebody from Winthrop Hospital today. There is a problem on Mineola Boulevard, 2nd Street, with pedestrian accidents. There's been a fatality. There's a woman was just recently hit and severely injured. There was an accident the same day, 3 hours later. And I said to them, look, we're going to try to take a study of this and maybe improve the safety of that area. But we can't do that. Do you want to know why? Because there's a bond issue for traffic studies that's been held up since the beginning of the year by the minority. So there's that project, there's all these projects that are going on and being held up, and we're supposed to stop and say, all right, we don't care about traffic safety, we don't care about our projects, we don't care about Bay Park, we have to take care of Legislator Abraham's district. It doesn't work that way, number one. Number two, they have abstained on almost every contract that's come before this committee, the Rules Committee. So now they're saying, okay, pass it because it's my district. It doesn't work that way. Either you're part of the process or you're not. They're absent themselves in the process. They have no right to conflict. They're missing from this majority. You're missing the point. You stop my district and I'll vote for yours. Oh, there it is. There it is, folks. We just got the truth. We finally got the truth. It's a quid pro quo. Vote for myself
then you get your stuff. That's what it is. We finally got the truth.
I'll tell you what I want.
We finally got the truth.
I love streetscaping, it's great.
Yeah.
But I want traffic safety in my district. And if you guys will not pass traffic safety, I'm not getting it. My citizens are at risk because of you.
Okay,
So I'm giving you streetscaping.
we got our clear understanding. It's all quid pro quo here in Nassau County. The bottom line is, this contract has been idle for 5 months.
We have the pictures. This is from 2012. It's not something that happened yesterday.
Joanne, you're absolutely right.
We're going to move on with the calendar.
No, we're not going to move on until you give, your attorney will give the justification to these people. So you're telling me you're not going to give the justification today so these people can go home thinking that they're going to get a project? There's no obstruction. You're missing the point, Dennis. You're missing the point. This was bonded money. Okay, let me speak slower. Maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying. Dennis, you're missing the point. This was a project that was bonded for in 2013. 2013. You just admitted in the record that you only do it because you're looking for what you're
anybody else.
I want to see traffic safety in my district. This is a quid pro quo. That's a different.
This is what
and this is Meredith's point.
We don't have to be talking about stuff. B1116, put us on the agenda now. It's very simple. In life, there are many things that need to be taken care of. Quite frequently, it boils down to just a few words, not non-stop talk for weeks and months and years. This is all you need to do. B1116, put us on the agenda now. Ms. Gonzalez, I know you're a decent human being. It's obvious that you're a bright woman, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting up there. Do right by our community. Do the right thing.
Just to also add to the point, we just found the certification, and to Mrs. Meredith's point, when she has come down, this is also a contract, Valente Contract Corp. also received from the Office of Minority Affairs dedication that this would also be an MWBE project. So it is a month contract. Oh, I'm sorry. This is an MWBE contract. So it has multiple positive facets to it. And it also it speaks to multiple possible things on why it's not being approved. So I can't understand for the life of it, but you have to demand. We are demanding today, please, give the justification on why this item has not been called, and give these folks the opportunity to come back down when it will be called, so it can be on the
calendar. We want the item called today. Why can't it call it today? Why?
B1116.
Why can't it be called today?
So will it be called on the 6th?
Why can't it be called today?
Will it be called on the 6th? Folks, she can't even commit that it will be called on the 6th.
Well, there's something called technology.
Can't even commit that it will be called on the 6th. I wonder why.
You can make this right by calling it today, B1116. Prove to us that this is not discrimination. Prove to us that you care about our community, B1116. That's what it is.
Prove to us that you know how to do the right thing, Ms. Gonzalez. I know you do.
I got news for you. It must go through the process. And
What's the process?
The committees first.
This will only escalate.
Committees
This will only escalate.
Let's be clear. Committees meet on November. Heidi and Pearl.
Yes.
Committees meet on November 6th.
No, it doesn't. It's the 7th.
The 7th. I'm sorry. One day off. On November 7th, will this item be called on the calendar?
Okay, I have one more comment.
Will this item be called on November 7th?
How about somebody else?
No disrespect to you, but this is a community and an circles. No, we're not. That's what you want to say. But the bottom line is, make the commitment that I don't go to the place. Neither do you.
Let's go.
But you guys have forgotten that. That's what you forgot, Mr. Copel. Neither you nor I run the place. They do.
I would like to answer you. Legislator Nicolello and Legislator Abrahams are both right in a way. traffic safety is much more important.
We're not talking about traffic. We're talking about Uniondale. We're talking about economic franchise community because it's a minority community.
Mineola was beautiful. Obviously, they're getting the investment they need. We're getting nothing. This is not about Mineola. I'm talking about Uniondale. This is about Uniondale. We're fighting for our community. We're talking about it right.
We're talking about the north side of Hempstead Turnpike, which is being ignored.
It is not incorrect to say that the way this organization runs is the same way most political shops run. You negotiate. And nobody gets, in life or in politics, everything they want. That's just not how it works.
But we've been waiting for years.
You have a representative here. You have somebody who's representing you. In life, nobody gets everything they want. If your representative is willing to talk with the representatives of other districts who have, let's just say equally, excuse me, I'm talking now, at least equally important items, we can sit down, we can come to some agreements, and we can decide what things get funded. However, and I can guarantee you that if they agree to take care of some of the items that we consider important, we will reciprocate and take care of some of the items they consider important. You need to, excuse me, I'm talking now, ladies. If you really want to get this done, you should talk to your representatives. This is not a discussion back and forth.
Okay.
This is, no, I'm still talking.
Okay.
Talk to your representatives. Tell your representatives to cooperate with us. Now, I think we should just move on.
I have something I have to say. I'm very sorry about what's happened in Mineola, that you need that. But this is from 2012. This is not something that happened last week or last month. This project was promised to us in 2012. Here is the photo with Mr. Mangano standing there and the plan there. We're talking about, I'm not finished speaking now.
Sure, I apologize.
2012. We're talking about what was promised in 2012. You can see the people there, the happy faces, and they were going to start with the library across the street, and then in the spring it was going to continue. The money has been there. We have been told that after Superstorm Sandy, all of that old thing was taken for something else. There is a contract with Valenti. Your project is important. But we're talking about something that was started in 2012. This is now going to be 2017, and all we have is that one strip. Not to say what you have is not important, but we're promised something. We are a global village. We are an interracial community. We all work together, and we would like you somehow to work together. This is dysfunctional what's going on. You have to work together, and it shouldn't be quid pro quo. It should not be. This is a project that's been voted on, and it should start immediately. We should not have to come here and banter and carry on like this. We take time off to come.
I'm sorry, directed a comment to me, I'd like to respond.
Well, I'm going to answer a question as well.
My district, let me just respond.
Let me
It's under my district, it's just not, the capital plan is just not what's happening now. All of these projects have been going on for years, have been planning stage for years. All that's being held up. So if you think I'm voting for something for legislative Abraham's district, when things in my district and all the other districts of the county are being held up by him, why would I do that? First of all,
well, you need to sit down like adults and iron whatever this is.
Heidi, don't feed into their spin. This is their spin. This is the bottom line. The bottom line, and Joanne, you said it so.
And you represent me.
Joanne, you said it so perfectly. This is it. This would, like Legislator Coppell explained that there's a negotiation. Yes, negotiation took place in 2013. We already incorporated Uniondale Avenue into the capital plan. What I believe Legislator Nicolello is insinuating is that somehow, some way, we're supposed to negotiate twice to ensure that the project actually gets done. Which to me is unheard of. This money was bonded for in 2013. The contract, for whatever reason, took 3 years to come to fruition in 2016. There is no reason they have called plenty of contracts. There is no reason that this item is not called for any other reason than spite. It's just a fact.
Okay, so how do we get beyond this and how do we get
She
beyond
needs,
this?
the presiding officer has to call the item. She's the only person that can call the item. When I'm asking, when I am asking, no, in fairness, it cannot be called today.
So what day can it be called?
The earliest it can be called is November 7th. So that's what we, fast forward to where we are now. I am asking that you call it on November 7th.
Presiding supervisor.
There we go. There's the answer. It's a quid pro quo. They want something from us.
Come on, you're good at that game.
I want to say something.
For 2 years you've been good at it.
I do. Presiding Supervisor Gonzalez, can we go, come on November 7th and be assured that this is going to be on the agenda?
I said, take it under advice.
So why can't you answer
I will not commit right now, okay?
Why not?
Because I have others to talk to. I don't make decisions by myself, even though Mr. Abrams thinks I do. I have a delegation that I speak to. I may be the presiding officer, but I do listen to my colleagues.
Yeah, I mean, you're the presiding officer, okay?
I do listen.
And you represent East Meadow. Uniondale is right next door. All you need to do is drive through to know that Uniondale desperately needs this kind of work.
In fact, I know Marie Cantonese for God knows how many years. And I know how hard she fought for the Uniondale community. And I know how hard you're fighting as well. But let me do my job, and I don't do my job without conferring with my colleagues. That's the way it goes. All right, and now I'm going to move on to the council.
Well, I just want to say before I leave that this is a sad state of affairs. This is a microcosm of what goes on at a national level. This is so sad for the community and the constituents of Nassau County. It's a microcosm of what goes on at the national level. This is sad. You hold people in limbo. I pay taxes. My residents here pay taxes. And to quote the late, great Melvin Harris Jr., former president of Nostrum Garden Civic Association, we are not begging crumbs from the king's table. This will only escalate. This will only escalate.
I want to fight for them.
Okay, let's go. Mr. Clerk, we're going to go on. We're going to call item 21st, which is Resolution 156, a resolution to confirm the county executive